Hello, Formula One fans, and welcome back to F1 in Focus. If you are unfamiliar with the show, we are the only podcast where a Lewis and a Max fan can very much get along in the wonderful world of Formula One and actually stay friendly during a full season. My name is John, and I'll be your host. And with me is the man with the best hair in the business, now running a 4K camera as well. It's none other than James Hazel.
Hello, how's it going? Now in HD, if you're watching on video. I
Yeah,
was
we
in
actually.
HD the last two, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I know. But people commented on how good your hair looked when full
Well, thank you very
resolutions.
much. I made an effort today.
Yeah, it might be your partner that actually commented on that, but hey,
Oh, yeah.
nevertheless, it's good to have you on, my friend.
Yeah, it's good to
Uh,
be here.
how
Always.
have you been after the English Grand Prix?
I'm still high on that. I'm still living off that dopamine hit from Sunday. We're recording this on Thursday, and I'm still high as a kite from a Lewis win.
Yeah, that was surprising. Maybe some context. We are recording this on a Thursday because I'm about to leave for. I'm not saying well deserved. I'll leave that to other people to set up, but
It is
at
well
least a
deserved.
highly needed holiday.
Yeah, well deserved. Definitely needed. You're a little bit overworked
Which makes
lately,
this
but
week a little bit stressful, and so we had to record. Well, last minute actually,
yeah.
but we couldn't let this go because what a spectacular Grand Prix this was, James. Normally, this would be the time where I do a Formula One race recap and make
Yeah.
some jokes about Perez. Can I still joke about Perez and
Of
you do
course
the
you can.
recap?
We've got our clown of the week segment that we discussed last week, haven't we? So
Definitely. So it's time for the
we're covering
clown
Perez.
of the week. Hey, Checo, not making it past Q1.
No.
And I've got no excuse. Yeah, it rained, but it rained for everyone else as well, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's done, eh?
I think so. Yeah. I don't. It's untenable. Is what it is. Yeah. I don't. What else can you say that we've not already said
Every
in the
single
last
week.
6 weeks? Yeah.
Logan Sargent outqualified him now.
Yep. He did. Logan Sargent beat him in the race as well.
How horrible.
To be fair, basically everybody who didn't DNF, other than Joe Guan Yu, apparently finished last. Sergio second from last. Awful choice to put the intermediates on when it was barely even wet yet, and then it kind of stopped raining. Never got to intermediate weather. Ferrari made the same mistake with Leclerc, but yeah.
Is this a weekend, James, where you definitely saw the difference between the boys and the men? Only because of the
100% it is.
fact where you see the boys let the team decide and the men decide
Yep.
for themselves.
So that's the point that I wanted to make. So look, Charles Leclerc, told on the radio, box, comes in, gets intermediates, goes out. It just does not work. They just went all in on a really bad gamble that they didn't need to make when they were already in the points with him. It's not like he was starting from last like Perez. Like I could sort of understand the Perez gamble because they're thinking if we do this now, it carries on raining, we might jump up into the points. We're nowhere anyway. And we heard on the radio, Max asked how he felt about the tyres. Lewis was asked intermediates. Lewis said, no, not intermediates yet. It's not intermediate weather.
He said, nope, no way.
Yeah. The guys, Max, Lewis, they are the two drivers on the grid, maybe Fernando Alonso as well. Not so much really with Fernando as certainly as Lewis, and probably not as Max either, but those two are in a league of their own in the sort of conditions that we had in Silverstone this weekend. Then they've just got some sort of gift for feeling the grip and what works.
Basically, me on iRacing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it should in the race. I mean, Max, I did want to kind of cover this a little bit today. In this, for the first 3/4 of the race, he was kind of invisible. It just didn't seem to quite work for him. He was like, don't know if it was the car or what, but at the start of the race, before they went on to intermediates, but it was getting damp, I thought maybe they're set up a little bit more for the wet conditions and they're going to thrive when it becomes wet. And then it became wet and they went on to intermediates, and he still kind of wasn't quite there. I mean, they made the right calls on when to pit, but his pace wasn't looking great. And I think really what was demonstrated is that the Red Bull, as we've kind of already figured out over the last couple of races, is just not quite the dominant car that it was last year. But then as soon as the track started drying up, that Red Bull pace was there. He was electric. He was flying, and I honestly thought he was going to steal the win in the last 10 laps.
I had hopes, but also this result, I didn't mind too much here.
No, I didn't. I was loving it. I am so happy and elated and just excited for Lewis getting another win, because he's had 2.5 years of no wins. Last win was during his championship fight with Max in 2021. And I think, he said himself in interviews, he's had some self-doubt and stuff like that. And I think this will be a massive weight off his shoulders. And also, if it turns out that it was just a fortunate set of events that played out for him, and that's his last win in Formula One, still, what a final win to win at Silverstone for the 9th time, record-breaking for wins at a single track in front of his home fans in the sort of conditions that he's always good in. It was just, he just put in an absolute vintage Hamilton race.
I have to ask, as a coming Ferrari fan, is it a oops or it's going to be all right?
I don't know, because Ferrari have kind of got slipped backwards a little bit. They're losing a key member of their team as well now, who's, I think, is he going to Aston Martin?
Yep.
Their sort of main chassis guy. You're going to have to forgive me, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's going, so he's on gardening leave at the moment, effectively.
So that means Newey's going to Aston as well.
Does it? I'd be surprised if he goes to Aston Martin. I really would. Yeah. Who knows, really?
Shall we try a point in the in the gamble about it? An extra bonus point?
What about where Newey goes?
Yeah, you can say Ferrari to be safe. You get an extra point.
I could say Ferrari. Yeah, I think
I'll say Aston, and then we'll see.
I think Ferrari, just because he's said in the past that things that he wished he'd done in his career: work for the red team, work with Fernando Alonso or Lewis Hamilton. He can tick 2 of those boxes by going to Ferrari. Alonso obviously is probably. He signed was it a 2-year deal? He signed.
And apparently he did not. He rejected an offer for Mercedes.
Fernando did?
Yes. That's what Toto said.
Well, he'll be regretting that decision now, won't he? I don't know how you turn down Mercedes over Aston Martin. Just, the car was garbage last year. Wasn't great the year before.
Maybe he knows Newey's coming.
Maybe. I don't know. But it's still Mercedes.
There's so many weird things going on with Sainz still not having a seat.
It's bizarre.
It's every time Toto talks, he talks about Max, which is something I've never thought see possible. We don't know where Newey's going. We see the big CEO from Toyota suddenly at Haas, and suddenly Toyota puts out a statement they want to look into getting back to Formula One.
Yeah, that'd be incredible. It really would. If we ended
Haas
up
Toyota with a Ferrari engine. This has been a bizarre weekend, bizarre race, a bizarre week of news.
But getting more manufacturers back into Formula One would be it'd be awesome. I was looking back at the 2008 season, I think it was, and you had was Toyota there? You had Honda, you had BMW, you had Ferrari, you had Mercedes. Toyota. Yeah, Toyota. I thought they were. That's kind of peak Formula One right there. The past's had similar kind of manufacturers and stuff in the sport. We've had Bugatti in the sport long ago. Stuff like that, but it'd just be nice to see manufacturers coming back. And I know the global economics maybe doesn't allow for some of these companies to just spend a load of money on racing cars anymore. It's maybe not that the same world we live in now, but it'd just be nice to see if we could get some of them back in. I think maybe Formula One has sort of headed in the right direction with that. I think with heading a little bit more towards, needing batteries, and because that's the way the world's going, isn't it? And with road cars, so keep the sport road relevant, and then maybe get more more manufacturers rather coming into the sport. But yeah, if Toyota came back, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Toyota
Audi
Haas with a
coming
Ferrari
back.
engine is something I've never thought I'd say.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be weird, but who knows? Maybe that's their foot in the door again to then maybe start making their own engine at some point.
Talking about weird news, and I'm going left from right here. I'm just going to throw everything at you today, James.
Yeah,
Rolex is dropping out of Formula One.
are they?
Yes, sir.
That's news to me. I didn't see that.
Signing a deal with Doug Heuer, probably for 150 million a year, and no more Rolex saying when we have to start the Grand Prix.
Well, I mean,
That's what it is, but it's still something that I thought I'd never see as well.
Yeah, Rolex is an odd brand because they don't appear to be in like in movies and stuff. There's often like an example I can think of off the top of my head is Interstellar. Matthew McConaughey's watch is a Hamilton watch, Lewis Hamilton affiliated, the American / Swiss brand. But yeah, like Rolex don't do any of that, but they do sponsor a lot of sports. I think they certainly sponsor Wimbledon. I don't know if they sponsor other tennis like Grand Slam events or whatever, but
I don't think they sponsor any football matches, so I've not probably seen that much.
no, I don't think that's their crowd. Football. I'm surprised they're ducking out of Formula One though, because it used to be Tag, and then it moved to Rolex, and yeah,
to come back.
Yeah.
So it's the LVMH group, which is also Hublot, for example.
Yeah.
I've reached out for a podcast sponsorship, but I've not heard back yet.
Let's get some watches.
I gladly wear something else, but hey.
Yeah.
But it's Haas Toyota waiting. Going back to the race, though, we had of course, an interesting race going from dries to rain to pouring to drying up to splashes back to pouring back to full dries.
Yeah.
And this is not only where you see the drivers perform, like Lewis and Max. I think definitely because Max looked like he would get his P6, honestly, in the first part of the race.
Yeah.
I thought it was done for. The McLaren would just eat the Mercedes and be done with it.
Yeah.
But I wanted like some pit strategies. Mercedes was on par. George Russell unlucky also be on the podium as well. I think
so. I think George was on for second or third place.
Yeah, and he might actually get first when if this happened. So he would be on par in the fight. So
yeah, I don't know how that would have played out later on. I mean, Lewis kind of when it got to those sort of tricky, wet but still on slicks conditions, Lewis kind of reeled him in and then got past him fairly easily. But then, the first major corner they both came up to after it got past, they just went straight on across the chicane, didn't they? Or not quite a chicane, but that like first corner off the pit straight or the starting straight, or whatever it was. They just underestimated how much grip, or overestimated rather, the amount of grip that would be there. But Lewis, yeah, George, yeah, maybe he could have fought for the win. I don't know. It's just another what if, isn't it? Unfortunately, he had a water issue, ironically, in a race that was massively affected by rain.
Still, if you can't cool the car, you're done for. So
exactly, yeah. It's some sort of water pressure issue, they said, to do with the water system. So it sounds like he just had a leak.
Talking about
or something.
Other important question. No, I'll just stay with this for now. So we saw the boys and the men being separately by taking some awesome pit stop calls themselves. Lewis, Max, Nico Hülkenberg. Just putting it out there. What a race.
Oh, yeah.
Another sixth place for Haas. Amazing.
Oh,
if they sign Toyota, they can just crown him king. Did it hurt that chances, I think?
No.
So well done.
Yeah.
But James, if you have fresh mediums and you're in the last 10 laps of the race, Would you toss on fresh mediums, or would you put on hard use softs?
I think McLaren didn't give him enough information there.
Well, they did give a lot of information. They just read him a book.
Yeah, but they basically said we can go with softs to cover Hamilton, or we can go with hards to cover Max. Why not just go with mediums to cover both? Like the soft, it feels like they just forgot they had a brand new set of mediums. In the cool down room, even Lewis was like, "You had new mediums, didn't you? Why didn't you put the mediums on?" Or,
Max just looked at Lewis at Norris there, like, "What?
Yeah,
you did?"
yeah. Like, I think the McLarens were the only team that, or one of the only team at the front anyway, that had a brand new set of mediums available for the race.
Yes, sir.
A spare set of brand new mediums, because I think they all started on brand new mediums. But the soft tyre was never a race tyre unless, the scenario that played out was going to play out, and obviously it did.
And still, Lewis was lucky there, took a gamble and kept the tires at peace, but he could also just add them worn out. So,
I mean, I don't think it was entirely luck, because we know.
No, it's Lewis. Skill. I don't mean skill. I don't know. I don't mean to say it's not skill,
yeah.
But I did think that Max on the hards would at least make it to the end, while the softs would be struggling. That's what.
Agreed. When he put the softs on, I thought, well, if anyone can make them last, it's Lewis. But when Max put the hards on, I just thought, if these tires start to fall apart for Lewis, is over. But if you look at his stint on those soft tires, I mean, you've talked about Max's stints before, where he just puts in lap after lap after lap.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency. That's exactly what Lewis did. At one point, Lando starts to reel him in. You look at the lap times, Lewis just doesn't react. He's sticking to what he's doing because he's trying to just eke those tyres out. And he played it to perfection. It's what I mean about vintage Hamilton. It was brilliant racecraft, brilliant decision calls, brilliant making the tyres last. I mean, look at, some of the things he's done in the past, like, was it Turkey 2020, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Intermediate tyres that he ran into, like, almost not quite slick conditions, but the tyres were effectively then slicks, and other people were pitting for fresh intermediates, and he just stuck with them and made a set of intermediates last for like 40 laps or whatever it was in that race. Like, this is what Hamilton does basically, and he did it again.
I just found the communication between the three teams.
Okay, yeah.
So Red Bull, Max, we're going soft. Let's box. F it. A response from Max. Mercedes, Lewis, box for the soft tire. Copy.
Yeah.
McLaren, danger lies before you, while safety lies behind. Two of us will help you, whichever you would find. One among 7 will let you move ahead. Another will transport the driver back instead. 2 among our number hold only till laps 9. 3 of us are mediums, waiting hidden in line. Choose unless you wish to stay P2 forevermore. To help you in your choice, we'll give you these compounds for. Shout out to the number 15, by the way, because on Reddit, of course. But that basically sums it up, mate. It's just clear communication, got out with the other teams. McLaren just reached bedtime story. And then the driver have to make a choice based on all the info he gets through that.
It was Ferrari-esque radio messages from McLaren.
Well, I also have the Ferrari one, but I can only do one po with it.
No. But historically, Ferrari that's what they do. It's like, we've got 5 decisions. I'm going to list them all out to you, and you're going to choose.
But you can't say 1, 2, 3, or 4. You have to say plan A to Z as well. Also, Tom Stellert, so the engineer from Piastri.
Yeah.
Competitor X has pitted. This is the best tire to go and copy, says Piastri. So it is not a McLaren thing necessarily. I think it's a
engineer thing, racer thing with Lando as well, maybe, because Lando knew he had those fresh mediums.
Exactly.
Why is he not asking, like, wouldn't the mediums be better? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's not really on Lando. It's down to the engineers. They need to decide. But
James, here comes the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Has McLaren got a midfield team mentality, or is it just?
I think it's just a mistake. I think.
Oh, you're too kind, mate.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I am. I think. I think Yeah, I think this is a case of just lack of experience, I think. Like you don't see this sort of stuff from Mercedes very often. You never really see it from Red Bull. They are winning teams that know what to do to win and know what decision calls to make. McLaren were a little bit. It's like nobody wanted to make the decision in case the decision was wrong and the blame would fall on them. So everyone.
That sounds like any other project I've ever worked at.
Yeah, really, yeah. I mean, certainly on Lando's side, it was very much like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? It was like no one knew what to call on that. And then, they proved it with Piastri. I think he got the fastest lap until who boxed for softs and put the fastest lap in? I want to say it was Fernando, but I don't know if it was. Somebody stole the fastest lap anyway, I think, at the end, didn't they?
Here's the official communication between Max and his engineer, GP. Lap 26, Max, maybe we need to box at the end of this lap. Yeah, I think we have to do so. Yeah. And it did. Lap 38, GP says to Max, Hamilton is boxing. And Max says, let's box. F it. And they box.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Meanwhile, at McLaren, we've talked about advantages having a fresh set of mediums to use compared to others. So would you like softs or hard?
Yeah. All they're doing is looking at what everyone else is doing and not looking at the advantage that they have in the tyre blankets sat there in the garage waiting to go on the car.
It's amazing, right?
And I mean, like I said earlier on, the soft tyre was never supposed to be a race tyre. If this had just been a dry race, start to finish, you would have never seen anyone put on a soft tyre unless it was like, somebody in 4th or 5th or 6th place had a pit stop margin, throws on a set of softs at the end to get the fastest lap.
Yeah.
That's the only time you would have seen the softs in the race. So it was just because of the conditions. So, I think they were too busy looking at Mercedes and thinking, well, Mercedes are doing that, so it must be the right thing to do. But Mercedes were doing it because they didn't have any media.
When you get everything, when you just studied for the test and still take over the answers from the person next to you.
Yeah, still copy the person next to you who...
when you actually know the answer. Like, no, he's probably doing this. I should copy it.
It felt like a lack of confidence. That's what it felt like to me. That's what it comes down to. Lando, I was going to blame Lando a little bit, but I think it's a bit harsh to do that. He's going off.
Yeah, F it, mate. We're at the holiday break. Blame Lando.
Yeah, okay. Poor Lando, though. He looked quite upset and disappointed with his result, and I think that's fair because.
No, I think it's true, but I also do think that he could make a call himself as well.
Yeah, he should do. Yeah,
and
he's been very hard on himself about it as well. So
yeah, and I think he's got the right mentality. But like you said last week, I don't think he has the world championship winning material just yet or experiences. Because else you make this call yourself. And
exactly, this weekend kind of ended up proving my point. Unfortunately, I didn't really want to see it, but I kind of did in some ways because I'm glad to see Lewis win, but I also feel a bit bad for Lando.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I'm happy for Lewis, though. Is Mercedes back for the next races, you think?
Possibly. We'll see. Hungary's, Lewis, that's another track where Lewis has got 8 victories at a single circuit. He clearly likes the place. It does suit their car. It's a little bit like Interlagos as well, isn't it? Where it's kind of short, twisty, no like super fast straights really, a little bit bumpy. Kind of works for, historically at least, for the Mercedes kind of car, I suppose. But they did quite well last year as well, didn't they? Where did Lewis finish last year? Did he get 3rd there last year?
We should ask the audience that, so I can just say I don't want to spoil it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. I feel like it was a podium.
We won't get rain there, at least, though. Normally it's scorching, so
that might not be great for them.
Talk about rain.
Podium last year. He finished 4th there last year. Maybe it was the year before he was on the podium then. But anyway, he does well there usually. So definitely. Mercedes, who knows? Yeah,
could be cool.
Yeah.
This season ain't over yet though, so that's cool. James, I got a statistic from rain-affected race wins since 1984. Well, Ayrton Senna drove 18 races in a red and won 10.
Yep.
So that's 55.56%.
Yep.
Insane stat. Lewis Hamilton is currently on 40 races driven and 14 won, 35% flat.
Yeah.
Insane statistic.
Yeah.
Schumacher is at 36-36 with 16 wins out of 44.
Uh-huh.
Do you think Max Verstappen is higher or lower than Lewis on race wins in the race? So Lewis drove 40 races and won 14.
Yeah, I'm going to say maybe it's lower.
Max drove 19 races and won 7. So that's 36-84. 1%
I didn't
higher.
realize he'd raced in 19 races, in rain-affected races already. Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Damon Hill also drove 19 and won 4 at 21%. That's cool statistics, honestly.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Yeah. And interesting. But I mean, yeah, it just goes to show Lewis and Max, compared to the rest of the current grid,
Miles beyond everything else.
very good in those conditions.
Next in line, Sergio Perez is 8%. 2 out of 25. And one still driving. I think the most are Bottas at 4%, 4.5, and Ricciardo at 4%.
Wow. So where's Fernando and all that? Just not there at all. I mean, to be fair.
I have to. Fernando's at 8.8%.
Okay.
4 out of 45.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to Fernando, he's had a lot of seasons
where he doesn't have a chance of winning.
yeah, exactly. You know, when you're racing for Honda, McLaren, Honda, whatever.
Yeah, those cool statistics. I just found out. I was like, you know what? That could actually be cool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So what's up next? Who do you get, James? Because I definitely want to go into the discussions about the predictions.
What's up next?
Yeah. Well, let me start. Before you start with predictions, before you check out what we actually predicted.
Yeah.
Pierre Gasly started the lap, the warm-up lap, but did not start the race. Is that did not start or did not finish?
Well, let's check the results. I'm pretty sure that would go down as a DNS, would it not? It is a DNS according to the official results.
Yeah. Oh, we had a question sent in about that as well, so that's your answer.
Okay, yeah. If they don't start, because the warm-up lap's not part of the race, so if they don't start the race, yeah, it's a did not start.
All right. First into the prediction, James, then we'll go into the next race, okay?
Yeah.
Because you said Lando will get pole. Yep. It was George getting pole.
Yep.
I said Max. Oh, it wasn't. You said Lando would win.
Yep.
If he would go for mediums, he would have. But unfortunately, he didn't. Yeah. I said Max would win. So there you go. The DNF, you said Zoo. So would get the DNF.
No.
He did not. I said George Russell.
Oh, you did? Oh, you got a point.
I got a point from it.
I forgot that.
Hence why
because your prediction was that he'd just wipe out on the first corner with somebody again.
He didn't exactly do that, but still.
I didn't even consider that during the race. I should have been more disappointed.
Yeah, well, you were so hyped about it.
I mean, I was already disappointed because it's the British Grand Prix DNFing. That you don't want to. I don't want to see that anyway. But yeah, and you scored a point off it. That's annoying.
Yeah, 21-18 in total.
I got 0 this weekend.
You said Perez would get 7th.
Oh,
I said Perez would get 8th. Well, he finished somewhere behind there.
Yeah, he finished way further down than that.
I closed the gap this weekend, James.
You did 2 points on me. Wow.
21-19. We go into our summer break.
Can we just briefly talk about Perez's qualifying?
Yeah, we can. And we're done.
Into the gravel, asking to be pushed out. Come on, you know the rules. If you cause a red flag, you're out. It doesn't matter if you get pushed back out onto the track. You can't participate again.
He can, because all he needs is a little push.
Yeah, but the rules are the rules.
No, a little push is all he needed.
Oh, just give me a push. I'm stuck.
Yeah, we're stuck with you.
Yeah. Just at the moment, there seems to be rumours around. What's in 2 races' time? Because he said 2 weekends specifically. It's after Belgium. Is that when we get the summer break? So it sounds, certainly his statement about he just needs to focus on the next 2 weekends. It sounds as if he could be migrating teams down the grid. We just got to hope so at this point. I mean, if you had the odd bad race, fair enough. if you had a couple of bad races in a row, you'd think that's quite unlucky. If you have 3 in a row, you'd think there's more than just luck playing into this, surely. He's had like 6 in a row. he did all right in 1 or 2 races at the start of the season, I suppose. But okay, we get it. The Red Bull isn't quite the dominant force that it has been.
It's not
still no way is it a P18 car. It's better than a P8 car. Like, what's he doing? Yeah. Anyway, that's Clown of the Week segment over. Just get rid of Perez.
apparently he has a clause in his contract that he can't be more than 100 points behind Max after the Belgium Grand Prix.
Well, I've heard that, but I've also heard
before.
that it could be based on his position in the drivers' standings as well. Could be it.
I hope for him it's driver's standing, because the other one's definitely not going to be able to come back.
He's got no way of getting. I mean, even if Max DNFs the next 2 races,
Max is 255, where Perez is 118.
Yeah, I mean,
even if he wins the next 2, Max doesn't have to score points, and then he just barely scratches.
50. Yeah, 52 if he gets fastest lap as well. Like, that's the most points available, isn't it?
Yeah, that means he would be on 163. While Max is on 263. While Max on 255. If he doesn't score anything, so there's no way that's the cap.
No, I mean,
but also, Piastri passed him. Sainz passed him. Russell is 7 points behind him, and Lewis is 8 points behind him. So after the next race, he might just as well be 8.
He could well be. That's criminal in that car.
First and 8 in the championship.
That's just unbelievable, really. I mean, I started this at the same time. I don't want to keep focusing on Perez's.
You should, because now still you can.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. It's just frustrating to see.
It is frustrating to see, because it's potentially ruining the championship as well. I mean, you could have somebody fighting with Max, but we don't. You could have somebody. I mean, I suppose it adds some interest to the Constructors' Championship, because Red Bull aren't running away with that because of Perez dragging them down to
71 points lead to Ferrari, though.
Yeah, it's still considerable, but if
I have 2 cars scoring, so yeah.
Well, yeah, but McLaren aren't too far behind Ferrari either, are they?
7 points.
So McLaren are in the fight, and they've got 2 drivers that are consistently finishing like top 5, top 6.
Unless they have a water issue.
No, McLaren, not Mercedes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So yeah, McLaren, they're in it.
It's cool to see.
I mean, unless they carry on picking the wrong tire, that would be the one. But,
yeah, it's exciting. But quickly about Perez, I think if he says so this weekend, so Perez is a loss, and it's just done, mate. Just please, because I know the guys have contracts, and I know you have to get him in and stuff. But it's this is the peak of the peak of the peak of the peak, right?
Yeah,
and there should be like relegation if you options. You go into F2 now because you're done.
That is probably not even probably. That is one of 2 of the most sought after seats in Formula One. It's the 2 Red Bull seats. They are the 2 that everybody wants to sit in, because they've got such a good team and car right now. And you've given one of them to Checo Perez.
But he's the most wanted driver on the grid, James.
Yeah, no. Anyway.
Who do we replace him with? Is it Lawson, which rumor says? Is it Daniel, or is it Yuki?
I think you put Yuki in. Sorry, no, not Yuki. I think you put Ricciardo in for the experience.
My bet is definitely going to be Lawson.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think you put Ricciardo in this year, and then you weigh up your options for next year. But I don't know what they do with Perez, because if he's got a 2-year contract, if maybe the 2-year contract is at minimum, he drives for.
He could be the new Drugovic.
VCARB.
Just have a contract and just look pretty at the pit wall.
Yeah, but if his contract is that he has a race seat, I mean, they could always buy him out of the contract as well. That's another option. They've got to do something with Lawson. They can't leave him sat in the garage.
Or Yuki, because I mean, his performance has been down a bit.
They're going to lose Yuki the way they lost Gasly. The only problem is that they haven't given Yuki an opportunity to drive in a fast car as well to actually prove his worth in a top team. But I think they're going to lose him. I think they're not going to move him up, and eventually he's going to just leave that team. He'll get an offer from somewhere else that'll be better money, or give him, I don't know, maybe it'll be slightly better machinery even, because the VCAP started off pretty good.
Yeah, but they didn't get with the upgrades, I think so.
Yeah.
James,
I mean, he could move to Haas at some point, or he could move, if he moves to Aston Martin when they become a Honda team, because Honda's going to want a Japanese driver involved, sure.
Yeah, but they're not going to set Stroll away, and Alonso's going anywhere. So
for now,
tight market, my friend, tight market.
Yeah,
I think this is a conversation we'll have to resume in a couple of weeks after the Belgian Grand Prix happened.
Yeah,
but it's definitely some discussion I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
James, prediction-wise and also timing-wise, I'm going away on a break, which means if at all I would be able to make a podcast, it would be, well, on the beach, probably somewhere, which usually doesn't make for the best sounding podcast. No. So I think it's safe to say we probably won't be making a show unless something happens and I find time on a Sunday evening or something.
Yeah.
And even then, the internet is so poorly where I'm going, it might take 2 weeks to actually upload. But we'll see about that. So I wanted us to look, could we make our predictions for the next 2 races right now, before we know what's going on, to make sure the battle keeps going?
Yeah, let's do that.
We're currently in 21-19 in your advantage. Normally we predict the pole position, the win, the first DNF, and we have a bonus question.
Yeah.
Bonus question might be a little bit hard, but let's go there in a moment.
I haven't thought of one, and I think it's my turn.
That's why I said in advance it might be hard. You only had 3 days extra to think about it. It's all right, mate.
Yeah, sorry, I always forget about it. Yeah.
James.
Yes.
We are going first to Hungary.
Yeah.
So for Hungary, who's going to take pole position?
I'm going to go with Max.
Max for James. And John's going to say it's going to be...
Do we know the weather forecast yet?
No, yeah, it's in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's not this weekend, is it?
And it's also normally, Hungary, middle of the summer, scorching. So
yeah, but we have had some wet races there before. Wasn't it down?
It's not going to rain.
When Bottas just went flying into the side of both
I have no active memory about that anymore. James is going to win in Hungary.
Oh, I want to say Lewis. I'm saying Lewis.
Oh, and I'm going to say Max.
I'd love to see Lewis win again.
I know.
In
another 290, if you just keep this every episode, I think in 294 episodes from now, you might be able to get another point.
Yeah. The first taste was free. Now I'm addicted again.
Yep.
I'm all about the Lewis.
First DNF in Hungary.
First DNF in Hungary. In Hungary, I am going to go with Logan Sargent.
Okay.
I think a DNF. I mean, yeah. I'm going to go with Sargent because I feel like it's a tough track to drive, and I think maybe he'll hit one of those nasty curbs or something, and he'll just knacker his car that way. We don't get bonus points for predicting how he DNFs.
You get a bonus point if you say he flips over or something. I'm going to go for Checo. So much proof. I'm stuck in the midfield again.
That DNF will be the end of him if he does.
I know.
Or the end of his Red Bull.
Watch me not predict him for Belgium Grand Prix.
After 2 years ago, I think it was proven there that if Max Verstappen's in the race, Checo's not winning it.
Nope, definitely not. James.
Yeah.
Bonus question. Since you haven't thought of it, I probably should think about it now.
I can think of one for you. In fact, I've got one.
Oh.
How many safety cars are we going to get?
I will do that for the next one. More interesting in Belgium.
Really?
Yeah.
But Hungary's got a pretty high chance of a safety car.
Okay. How many safety cars?
Yeah. You get to answer first because I asked the question.
I know. 2.
2? I'll just go with 1 then. There we go. That one was easy and quick.
Okay.
We're going to get 3 now, and I'm going to be really annoyed.
Yes, sir. Probably. Belgium. We go to Belgium. My favorite track one of my 2 favorite tracks.
Yeah.
Who's going to get pole position in Belgium?
Max Verstappen.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there as well. That's his track where he.
Yeah, I'd say Max has got 3 tracks on the calendar that he's pretty much guaranteed to win: Red Bull Ring, Spa, and Zandvoort.
The first one he didn't win, so there we go.
No, but it's still a strong track for him.
Who's gonna win it?
Max, yeah.
And, I have to agree there as well.
Yeah.
First DNF.
First DNF, Spa. Who do I want to go with? I'm going to go with Stroll.
Stroll.
Yeah.
That's the name I've not heard for a while.
Yeah, he's been kind of quiet, and he's been quietly putting in okay-ish results, I suppose.
You know, we got the first DNF last year.
Who?
Piastri.
Did he?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes.
And Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, first corner.
Yes, sir.
Where Carlos called him out for being overambitious, and I thought actually that move was okay.
And I totally agreed there.
Yeah.
You say Stroll.
Yeah, it could just be somebody near the front, to be fair, because of that first corner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So near the front, I'm going to go for Lando.
I was expecting you to say Russell.
I wanted to say Russell, but I had
nearly
that one
preemptively said it for you because I thought you were going to say it, and I wanted to look clever and smart. But
you look clever and smart, and I could cut this out to make it look even better, but I won't. James.
Yeah.
What's the distance between the winner and the number 2 in seconds and decimals after the Belgian Grand Prix?
Oh, this is impossible. This is just completely random. What if it rains? What if there's a red flag? What if there's 20 seconds? Just go with 20.
Last year, you want to know what last year is? Maybe I just showed you addiction.
Okay,
maybe adjust your prediction.
Yeah, cut
last year, the difference between Max and Checo, who finished second here, was 22.3 seconds. It's where Red Bull brought their upgrades. Also, Red Bull are bringing their upgrades this year to Hungary.
Oh, right, are they? Okay. So, I'll stick with 20 seconds, but really, it's very difficult to judge. Right? Anything could change that. Weather could make it 50 seconds.
You just don't want me to say 19 seconds.
I don't know what I want you to say.
No, this is a hard one, so I'm going to say 19.199 seconds.
Okay.
Which is weird, so it's 19.59, but 19 seconds from you. Because I think it might be closer than we expected.
I think so. Well, to be fair, the other teams have caught up to Red Bull.
Yeah, but new Red Bull upgrade next year. And last year, before Spa, they were caught up as well. Then Spa hit after the summer break, and oh boy, that was a done fight. So
last year, 2022 was similar, wasn't it? When it was Spa where they brought in the minimum height on the car or whatever it was, and Red Bull just vanished.
Exactly. Like, now we're going to get Red Bull, and they never saw them again. It took 2 years.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
We'll see. We have to discuss the upgrades from Red Bull. We have to discuss if Checo stays there. We have to see if Toyota takes over. We have to see if Rolex drops out. So much to see, so much to hear, so much to follow. And where is Carlos Sainz going?
Yeah, I was just going to say, we need to know where Sainz is going, because he's still slightly clogging up the driver's market.
We could predict that Perez drops out and Sainz is going to Red Bull.
No.
But we'll find out in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, we'll know
4
more
weeks.
then, yeah.
I don't know. In a couple of weeks. James, thanks so much, my friend.
Yeah, thank
Anything to add before we leave for the sunset? Well, I will leave. I'll send a photo if that helps.
No, I don't want to see the photos, thanks. I missed that place. We went there earlier in the year, didn't we?
We did.
And it's a stunning location, and I'm jealous that you get to go back already. I've said everything I want to say. I'm still happy about Lewis. That's what I want to say. I will live off that for a long time.
That's good. 294 more races, James. You can do it.
Yep.
See you in a couple of weeks, buddy. Bye-bye.
Yeah. See you later.